This is Matt Sydal. Keep watching The Roman Show.
This is The Roman Show.
Off from The Roman Show with Matt Sydal. Matt, thanks so much for joining me here. Well, first and foremost, it's been some time now. Of course, you left WWE and so forth. What have you been up to?
Well, since I left WWE, I've been wrestling in Japan, Europe, England, and now I'm wrestling really frequently with Ring of Honor. I recently wrestled for the Ring of Honor World Television title on pay-per-view. I came up a little short on that, but needless to say, I've been extremely busy and I've been loving life.
Since you left the E, what are some of the things that you noticed, some of the talent that was outside of WWE that you weren't aware of? What are some of the surprises?
Well, I'll be honest, there weren't really surprises because I pay attention to the wrestling industry. I've always been somebody who's always wants to be on top of who are the next up-and-coming guys, who's innovating, who's creating, who's using their imagination with what they're doing. And getting to work with these guys firsthand is so much better than just watching them on tape. Because then I really know, is this guy live up to the reputation that he has? Because the only way to really know is when you get in there and one-on-one and wrestle with these guys. And I found that there is a wealth of talent here on the independent scene, and a lot of guys that I'm excited to wrestle for the first time, and a lot of guys I'm excited to wrestle for the first time in 8 or 10 years. And that's a whole other side of things, is that these guys that I'm working with now, the Briscoe brothers, Roderick Strong, these guys that have been in Ring of Honor for the last 10 years, building this company up, they've been killing it. And I'm walking back in, and now we got to go toe-to-toe one more time. And as friends and guys that are competing, there's going to be an ego game, and that what steps up the competition. Each match and each show, the competition gets higher and higher, and that's what I like about this. Is it's kind of that one-upsmanship game we're playing.
Man, is there one particular person that you want to wrestle that you haven't wrestled yet? And it could be indies, it could be the E right now, anything.
Well, I'm looking forward to wrestling my old nemesis, Delirious. I haven't wrestled him in 8 years, and I get to wrestle him again coming up at a Ring of Honor show in February. And that, for me, is like a full circle match. And it's time to prove to him what I've learned, and maybe he can show me a thing or two.
Compared to what you learned in the E, what have you learned out here in the indies? I mean, I'm a big fan of wrestling, of course, I've been watching for some time, and it's amazing when a person takes itself from watching the WWE and seeing stuff like Wrestle Kingdom, which was amazing. It was incredible. I'm sure you saw it. So what are some of the things that you've learned out there?
Wow. Well, so I actually learned a great deal when I was in WWE. I also was able to grow up a lot and mature. But in the last 2 years, not wrestling, being out with an injury, I was actually able to learn a lot more about life. And by learning more about life, by taking a little bit of time off of wrestling from this injury, I was able to decentralize the way I approached my wrestling matches. No longer was I thinking, what's the craziest, coolest thing I can do? It was more about how can I express myself more in every match that I do, and how can I give the fans something more to connect to. So I was able to learn by being away, and then coming back onto the scene. In these independent shows, the crowd is so close. They can feel the sweat. They can hear every hit. So if you're whiffing, they're going to call you on it. So what I've had to do is tighten up that game, because you can't slip an inch. You can't bobble on those ropes. You can't hesitate. The fans here are really critical. They expect high caliber performances, and that's what I do.
Yeah, it's funny you mention that, because you got 20,000, 30,000, whatever it is, but when you have 100 people, I mean, you really have all your eyes on you, so you have to be careful on everything that you do.
Yeah, I mean, in a big arena, you almost have to move slower so that the people at the top can see it in terms of performance art. But in these intimate settings, you have to move faster. You have to be crisper, cleaner, harder. It is a much more challenging art form. But that's what makes it so special. That's what makes it so fun and so endearing. And people wonder why guys go out there and wrestle in front of small crowds for little money, because it has nothing to do with that. It's all about what we're doing in the ring, and the desire to be in the ring seems to trump everything in a wrestler's life.
Do you keep in contact with some of the guys from the E, or some of the trainers perhaps?
Of course, I keep in touch with plenty of guys. I mean, I was able to have quite a few friends there, not just on the wrestling side, but also on the production side. WWE is a brilliant company that has a very sturdy backbone. Marketing reps, I mean, the charitable work that they do with Sue Aitchison, they've got a ton of good people. That's what I enjoyed about WWE, is they hire the best of the best. Whether it's wrestling, whether it's their tech guy, the guy that runs the wiring, the guy that sets up the ring. Have you seen the stages that we perform on? Those stages aren't made by some schmo. It's made by a professional, and that's one of the sad things is I don't get to see those friends anymore, but now I get to see all the friends that I haven't been wrestling with, and get to play with them now.
Who did you have the most fun time working with in WWE, and who did you want to feud that you didn't have a chance to feud with?
So the number one guy I had the most fun working with was Chavo Guerrero. I mean, that's without a doubt. He taught me a special brand of wrestling that I could have never, you couldn't learn from watching tapes. You could only learn physically one-on-one, getting handed down from the Guerrero family to me. It's something that really I hold dear, and it really, that was the biggest growth spurt that I had in terms of knowledge in wrestling and using my mind in the ring. So that's stuff with Chavo. And the feud that I think I missed out on, I gotta think me and Rey Mysterio could have gone for it a little bit more. You know, we were partners, but the matches that we had against each other were sure to be classics. I was really fortunate to get a good little run with Jericho. It didn't manifest as long as I would have liked it to, but it was fun while it lasted. And honestly, now is when I would want to have my feud with Chris Jericho. Back then, I might not even been ready, but right now is when I could really take full advantage of that kind of opportunity. So I'm still hoping to get, to be a part of good storylines in Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor TV has really interesting storylines. Like, I just have been in and out of some stuff with the House of Truth Martini and his guys. And I really feel like the storytelling is coming along in me, and I'm always trying to up my game. And that's one of those things is doing it for guys like Chavo and guys that I want to feud with. Like, I pick them based on what I can get. I'm not just doing it because I think we're gonna make some money on TV and people are gonna like seeing it. I'm doing it because I'm getting I'm winning knowledge from them by wrestling them and testing them. And I like guys that aren't gonna quit on me. I like guys that are gonna push me. Like guys that go just a little bit harder than you want to go. Guys that you have to almost say, hey, slow down. That's the kind of matches I like being in.
Last question. AJ Styles, he recently was in Japan. He did his finisher. He injured. What are your thoughts on that? Some of the indie wrestlers are saying, be careful when we wrestle AJ Styles and so forth. And you being now in the indie scene, what is your opinion on that?
Well, I mean, I'm going to say anybody who says be careful when you wrestle AJ Styles is a moron. That's the silliest thing I've ever heard. He is possibly the best professional wrestler at this very instant when this interview is going. You can't deny he's in the top 5. He could even be number 1 if you watch some of his current work. It's not ballet. It's as simple as that. And if you're good, I've wrestled him tons of times. I wrestled him when I was a kid. I wrestled him when I was a child, and we were crazy doing insane stuff. No accidents, no problems. I wrestled him just the other month. No accidents, no problems. We went crazy. We went 110%. There was no waiting. I got hit with the Styles Clash. I lived to tell the tale. It's physical, but wrestling's not ballet. And if you want to get into, a lot of people get into wrestling because they're a nice guy. Well, my neighbor's a nice guy too. It doesn't mean you belong in the ring. And maybe that's just it's a weeding out process. If you can't hang with AJ, I mean, he's going to make people look bad because he's that much better. He's world class, and some of these guys are amateurs. I mean, that's what happens when you put world class in the ring. I mean, if it was a baseball game and you put a pro against a little leaguer, he's going to smash him. You just can't help it.
Matt, thanks so very much for taking time. Thank you, Matt.
This is The Roman Show.